Hi, thanks for joining me. So today I want to talk about my PlayStation 2 collection. I don't think I've gone over this ever for you guys before. It's kind of it's not exactly a small collection, but it's a smaller, more curated collection, I think, than some of my other, certainly like my complete collections and such. I've broken it down into a little bit by genre, a little bit by publisher. So let's go ahead and start off with some anime-based games here. If you guys watch my videos, you might have seen this one before. This is Orphan, Scion of Sorcery. As far as I know, this was a really early PS2 game. I don't want to say it was a launch game, although it may have been, but it was kind of earlier on. Interesting that I actually never played this originally. I don't think my friend had it. He was a really big sort of PlayStation 2, early adopter. It's vaguely possible that he had it, but I don't really remember anything about it. So I wanted to pick it up. I really haven't played it, so I don't know much about it. I'd be curious to see how the graphics hold up these days, though. Another one here, I think I picked up actually both of these games on the same trip to New York State just a few years ago. So these are a little more recent pickups, these two. This is Shonen Jump's Shaman King, Power of Spirit. Now, Shaman King is not an anime that I've seen before. I have been familiar with it from video games, though. It's actually had quite a few games from the PS1 and PS2 era. I don't know if it's had any beyond that, but this it looks pretty interesting. Again, I really haven't played this, but it's like a strategy game. It almost seems like. I know I've seen like there's Versus Fighter at least on the PlayStation 1, but kind of a strategy RPG. Sounds pretty cool. So next up is Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. Now another one I haven't played a whole lot of. I've played a lot more of the PSP game, Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, which I think it's different from this. It's like a first-person action game, which is really cool. Definitely enjoyed that. This one seems more like a third-person action game. Oh, that's cool. You can play as Motoko or Bateau or Tachikoma, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, I don't know a lot about it, but I definitely wanted to have that in my kind of my PS2 anime games collection. I'm sure I'll get around to playing some of those one day. Inuyasha: The Secret of the Cursed Mask. This one is really cool because it's an RPG. I have no idea how good an RPG it is, but I was just really excited to see an anime-based RPG come out here. I mean, not that Orphan and Shaman King seem like they aren't, but I just remember when I found out there was an Inuyasha game that wasn't like a versus fighter. I was pretty excited about that. Now, I'm not the hugest Inuyasha fan. Rumiko Takahashi, of course I love her work, but she really kind of started out doing shonen manga, and in her later years here she switched over to doing shoujo manga, which is cool because I think she's a great mangaka, and it seems like people really like her shoujo stuff too. But just being a guy, like I'm just like that much less engaged in it a little bit. But I still like Inuyasha, so I'm pretty psyched. Again, to someday check that one out. Next up, Lupin the Third: Treasure of the Sorcerer King. Now, this is interesting because this is one that my friend picked up right when it first came out. So, I remember playing this with him. Again, we were both just big anime fans, and we're really just excited to see like an anime game come out. I mean, here, like without having to import it, So that was really cool. Unfortunately, I seem to remember like our consensus on this wasn't all that good. But it's something I wanted to get back. Maybe not back in my collection, but to be able to play again years later, and yeah, I'm excited to give it a shot again someday. Lupin the Third. So next up, this is actually kind of a little bit more of a random pile, so we're gonna go through some kind of miscellaneous stuff here. First up, we have Barbarian. Now, this is something I picked up a little more recently, just kind of on a whim. It seems pretty cool. It's published by Titus. I've never heard of them. And what does this say? Developed by Sapphire. I get the feeling this is Western developed, but it has a pretty interesting sort of bullet list of features. It seems to be kind of like, I want to call it sort of an arena versus fighter, but it says, there's 10 different characters with their own storyline and quests. 300 different story branches, RPG character upgrade system, depending on experience earned and stuff. So, it seems like a pretty ambitious kind of game. I did pop this in and play it, a while ago. I don't remember a lot, but I just remember thinking, oh, okay, it's a versus fighter. But, it seems interesting. I'm curious to check it out some more. Next up, we have Extermination. And actually, I'm sort of embarrassed to admit I forget exactly why I got this. I was super excited to get it because somebody worked on it that I knew, and I was like, oh wow, like it's one of their games. I need to check this out, and I don't remember, so I'll look it up. I'll put a little annotation or something. But yeah, suffice to say, again, a little bit more of a more recent pickup that I really wanted to get. Hopefully, more information is appearing on the screen. Finny the Fish and the Seven Waters. Again, a little bit of a more recent pickup. I was up in Maine, I believe, and I was checking out a chain of used game stores up there, a lot of used media, and this was a Natsume game. Some sort of fishing. It's almost like I think you play as the fish. I seem to remember talking about this pretty recently. It just sounded like a cool premise, so I picked that up. Ultimate Alliance. I'm actually kind of almost regretting picking this up because pretty sure that I played this on the PlayStation 3, and I saw it for the PS2, and I was like, oh, Ultimate Alliance, I love that game, and but then I'm like, oh, it's on the PS2, which is cool, and I might just keep this and play it on the PS2. But yeah, I really wish that, like, especially with how popular the Marvel like sort of movie franchises are, they would have like some more like good Ultimate Alliance games like this, or just do whatever, like the X-Men Legends games or something. Those are all great games. I mentioned this one before. Whoops, trying to focus there. Fighter Maker 2. Don't know a whole lot about that. Stefan mentioned this, that he played a whole bunch of this back in the day. So I'll put a link down to his channel, Stefan Hamburger, I believe, and yeah, you guys should check out his channel. He's a cool dude. He and his wife recently did a video on how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. That was pretty cool. Air Force Delta Strike, again, a little bit more of a recent pickup. I mentioned this before. Just sort of a Konami published a little bit of an anime style like flight sim game. I played a little bit of it. It's pretty cool. The Metal Gear series. Now, I really liked Metal Gear Solid 1. This is on my bucket list to play. Metal Gear Solid 2 here, Sons of Liberty, so, I might sit down and get to this here sometime pretty soon. There's a couple of my bucket list games here in this collection that I want to get knocked out. Because I really want to enjoy this series. It's gone on for a bunch of games, and it seems really great. So still need to play that here sometime soon. Same with Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. This was one of those ones that people seem to really enjoy too. I almost think it might have been a little bit of a return to form after 2. Again, I haven't played it, so someday I will check that out. Swing Away Golf. Now, you guys might remember that I really enjoyed and I would say still am interested in the Hot Shots Golf series. Played a lot of the first game in that series on the PS1, and I've played iterations of it since then. And there were kind of, especially around the PS2 era, I think a lot of golf games sort of experimenting with that sort of style of not like a super realistic golf game. And Swing Away Golf, I really think was one of the more successful imitators of Hot Shots Golf. It's by T&E Soft here. And yeah, I really enjoyed this game. So I've had this in my collection for a long time. It's a really cool game. Next up is Lifeline. Now, this is a voice action adventure. You play entirely with the microphone, and like microphone headset, and you give voice instructions to the main character. It looks really cool, really interesting concept. It's like a science fiction. I almost think this woman on a space station or something like that, and it just sounds really cool. I just picked it up on the concept alone. I even got a headset for it, which I still use on like the PlayStation 3 and stuff, and I guess until I got the PS4 that came with the headset. But again, I haven't really played this. I have no idea how well it works. I don't think the voice recognition is probably excellent, but very unique concept. I'd actually love to see them do something like that, with the more modern systems. Eco, one of my favorite games. This was in my top games of all time video, and you can see I don't have a manual for this. So if anyone has an extra Eco manual for some reason, let me know. But yeah, I just love this game. I played it again when it first came out. I played my friend's copy of it, and it took me a little while to get into. I wasn't super into it, but once I it hooked me. It really hooked me, and it's not a long game. It's a puzzle game essentially, like kind of an action puzzle game. Really really good. And actually another game that made my top games of all time, Monster Rancher 3. Love the Monster Rancher series. Monster Rancher 3 is the best one as far as I'm concerned. So really cool game. If you guys haven't played a Monster Rancher game, they're excellent. Just kind of a raising sim where you battle monsters. It's kind of a little bit of a Pokemon ripoff, but it has a really great gimmick where you kind of randomly generate monsters based on the discs that you put into the system, and it's a great game. Really really fun. So next up we have racing games. Quite a lot actually. I wouldn't call myself like a huge racing, certainly not like an auto sports fan really, but I do like racing games. I think it's just sort of a visceral, fun kind of experience. Again, this is something I picked up a little more recently. Suzuki TT Superbikes. I mostly just got this because I have a bunch of car racers, and I was like, well, motorcycle racer sounds pretty cool. So I just wanted to give that one a shot. I think I did try it out briefly, but I still need to, play it some more. Need for Speed Underground. Now, I've kind of been a fan of the Need for Speed series since the first game on the PlayStation 1. And this, not always like really into them, but I've enjoyed them. Need for Speed Underground was something my friend picked up. He actually got it on PC, and I almost think he had like a pretty cool steering wheel setup that he was using with it. It wasn't something I was terribly interested in at first, but once he started playing it and I started playing it with him, I really enjoyed it. It's really really fun. Just sort of, it's almost like these series of trials. Where it's sort of rotation around the same kinds of gameplay, where it's either like it's sort of like drag races and things like that, or it would be like a time, or you have to stop at a certain thing, or it was really fun. I really liked how it worked, and the great graphics. You can customize the cars. Really really fun. I really like these games. I don't actually know if I have Need for Speed Underground 2. I believe that's on the PS2 also. I could be wrong. Another one that I really like, Reckless, the Yakuza missions. Now, I kind of think that my friend and I played this originally on the Xbox. Could be wrong about that. But really fun game. It's sort of like, it's got kind of a cheesy like story to it, where I almost think that you play like I don't know, a couple of almost like bumbling like female cops, almost like you're under arrest, like that anime or something like that. But you're like, you're going after these equally bumbling kind of like Yakuza. Anyway, it's super fun. Like it's all mission based, and they're all like just cause a lot of havoc and mayhem. I just remember like having a lot of fun with all of the missions in here. It's super great. That would actually be fun. I don't know if I'd almost like to do a review on that or something, or at least just show off some gameplay, because it's a cool game. If you guys have played it, let me know. If you haven't, you're kind of missing out. I really think it's a fun game. Burnout. I never got really into the Burnout series until, again, my friend was playing it, and we really got into the Crash Junctions. Now, I don't remember if this particular game has the Crash Junctions in it or not, but they're super fun. Like, you basically just start taking your car and running it into an intersection and just trying to cause as much chaos as possible. Just crash as much stuff. I also have Burnout 3 Takedown. But they seem like they're pretty cool racing games. They were a little unique. I think they maybe started to burn out a little bit. As they iterated on it, but they were definitely fun for the first couple few games. Now, so then the Tokyo Extreme Racer series. Now, I wasn't necessarily into this right from the start, but I've developed an appreciation for it. Ever since I've played the first one on the, I think the first two maybe on the Dreamcast. So I wanted to get the follow-ups on the PS2. We've got Tokyo Extreme Racer 0, Tokyo Extreme Racer 3, which apparently this one has a rental sticker on it. The other one has some sticker residue on the manual, so those aren't in the most perfect of shape. Tokyo Extreme Racer Drift and Tokyo Extreme Racer Drift 2. So those weren't particularly hard to find. I don't think that they were especially expensive, but I was happy to be able to add those to the collection. Next up, we're going to get into Capcom games. Now, you guys know I'm a big Resident Evil fan. I was really, really excited when Resident Evil Code Veronica X was coming out. I played Code Veronica on the Dreamcast and really enjoyed it. I guess how excited do you get over remakes, especially like these days? But somehow I was just I was excited about seeing it on the PS2, and it had some extra content to it. There's extra cutscenes and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe I was gullible or something, but I was pretty stoked about this. And I got it. I actually ended up selling it on eBay, and so I've reacquired it. It was sort of like a long reacquiring process too. I ended up getting the best of edition, and then I didn't, I don't like having those as much, so I ended up getting the black label eventually. But Code Veronica X, very great Resident Evil game. Also a great Resident Evil game, Resident Evil 4. This was one, I felt a little bit of a rift between myself and Capcom and Resident Evil when they went exclusive to the GameCube for a long time. So needless to say, I was happy when they released this on the PS2. This is the copy of it that I played. It took me a long time to get into this game because of that. It's also like not necessarily my favorite Resident Evil. I know a lot of people like super love it, but I mean I was hardcore into the original games after 2. Obviously went back and played 1. So this changed things up, and I didn't think it was bad, but it just it took a long time for me to warm up to Resident Evil 4. But it's a very good game. Resident Evil Outbreak. Unfortunately, I've got here 1 and 2. These are games that I really haven't dug into that much. Resident Evil Outbreak, I've started this game multiple times. It seems like an interesting concept. It's sort of a little bit more, you could play these online, so it's possible that that's sort of the main appeal of them. But you sort of just play as like a survivor, one of a group of people that are sort of trying to survive as a group, and it seems a little bit like less combat oriented and more about just sort of like working with the different characters, kind of like to just to survive, sort of by managing your resources and stuff. They seem like interesting games, but unfortunately I could never get into them. Beautiful Joe. You guys might remember I didn't pick these up too long ago. Beautiful Joe, also one of those series that kind of started on the GameCube. It was sort of, along with Capcom's, again, they're sort of kind of buying into the GameCube really heavily. And, again, it's something I kind of missed out because of that. And once I finally sat down to play Beautiful Joe, I realized that it's a great game. Everybody's always said it was a great game, but it really is. I really enjoyed it. So I had to get Beautiful Joe and Beautiful Joe 2 for the PS2. So very, very cool games. I don't think I beat the first game, but I played a bunch of it. And here I was saying this is sort of like a curated collection of a lot of like old stuff, but I feel like so many of these things are things I got fairly recently, so I guess for what that's worth. Everblue, again, not recent, but within the past handful of years. This is just one of those ones, probably after I discovered Africa, aka Hakuna Matata is actually the version of it that I imported from Asia to play on the PlayStation 3, which is a kind of a safari photography simulator, which I really enjoyed. It's developed by Arica, and I was wondering what other stuff they did, and they did Everblue on the PS2, here published by Capcom. So as soon as I found out about that, I really wanted to pick this up, and I think I found this when I was out, actually. Well, I take that back. I might have ordered it online. I don't really remember. So next up, let's get into another publisher here. Squaresoft and or Square Enix. We have Final Fantasy X. This is probably the first Final Fantasy that I really, well, I shouldn't say that. The first Final Fantasy was the first Final Fantasy I really enjoyed. And then after that, I would say 10 is probably the next one I really enjoyed. I've told this story before, but I never really had Nintendo systems, so aside from playing one on the NES way back in the day, I never really played the follow-ups here in the States. And I wasn't really into 7 when it came out, mostly because I didn't have a PlayStation at the time. I had a Saturn. So so I was a little late to the party, so I played Final Fantasy VIII, and that was alright. But then I played this, and this is good. I mean, it has all of the problems, I think, that everybody complains about. The characters are a little goofy, and the story is sort of weird, and all that stuff. And I mean, honestly, I think if it hadn't ended the way it ended, I might not like it so much, but I feel like the ending was really interesting, and the gameplay is really good, and it's just a cool Final Fantasy. I feel like they really pulled this one off. So that's my, I don't know. It's not really my original copy because I played my friend's copy, but that's one I've had forever. Same with this, Final Fantasy X-2. Liking 10 so much, of course, I had to get this, but yeah, I can never get into this. I started it a few times and was like, oh, whatever. It's like a weird side story. I'm glad they did it, but I'll probably play the remakes here someday. I've got it on the Vita, so I think that'll be a fun way to revisit those. Final Fantasy 12. I don't really understand the hate for this game. I'm sure there were a lot of reasons for it. The game itself, I'm loath to suspect being one of them. I almost feel like when people trash talk this game, it has a little bit more to do with like the direction that the series went, and with 10 and after 10, than it does really with the game itself. But I don't know. Personally, I love this game though. This is yeah. It's a toss-up, really, probably between 10 and 12 here as to which is my favorite Final Fantasy. Definitely some issues with this. I think like the extra content and sort of like the when you go exploring and find extra dungeons and stuff, they're super hard, which I think a lot of people get into. But I loved the gameplay in this game just so much. I thought it was really great. The graphics are great. The character designs are great. I think that they always do good designs. The characters are kind of crap in this game, and the story is pretty good. Except that it apes Star Wars really badly. But for what it's worth, I loved my time with this game. I just played it beginning to end, beat the game, just loved it. It was just had a lot of fun with this game. I really like it. Star Ocean Till the End of Time. This was a recent pickup, if you guys remember. I mean, I mean recent in the past few years. I just found it at a Goodwill, and decided to pick it up because it's Star Ocean and Square Enix, and honestly, it's hard because I played whatever Star Ocean it was that we got on the PlayStation 1 originally, and I didn't like it because the story was so cliched and just bad. I didn't like the writing. I didn't like the premise, the plot. It was bad. I hear actually a lot of people don't like this game, kind of for the same reasons. Like they don't really like the story and the plot. But I don't know. I'm curious to see what it's like. I'm curious to see what the new one is like too. I haven't played that yet. And then Valkyria Profile 2, Slimeria. Again, didn't get to get this that long ago. I don't even quite remember why I got this, other than I think I just really wanted to see what the Valkyrie profile. Did I say Valkyria? I'm thinking like Valkyria Chronicles. What the Valkyrie profile games are like, and here this is. I almost think I picked up one on the PSP also, and it might have been the reason why I wanted to get the PS2 one. So next up, we're going to look at Atlas stuff. The fabled Atlas. Now, so this, I guess, again, is hopefully where it's going to get a little bit more into like games that I played with my friend, and games that I kind of got because of like the gameplay, like the games that we played together. So, Disgaea, Hour of Darkness. It seems weird to remember a time when Nipponichi didn't have a localization branch here in the U.S., but they didn't, and Atlas picked up Disgaea. And my friend played this, loved it, absolutely loved it. Now, I probably spent more time watching him play this than I have playing it myself. In fact, Disgaea 3 was the first one that I really got into, and I loved it once I did, so it's a great series. But I definitely wanted to have this because, just sort of like the time we spent together, and, because he liked it so much, and once I started getting into 3, I really wanted to have 1 and 2. This is something I picked up a little more recently. Chorokyu, again, published by Atlas here, and these are really interesting games. There's a version of this on the Wii. It's sort of, I think it's been kind of a long running series of just like these sort of cutesy. It's in association with says Tomo, but Tomy, I believe the toy manufacturer. So I kind of think that there are probably toys associated with this, but it's like a kind of a racing slash RPG-ish sort of cute game. Mini games galore, endless customization. It's pretty cool. I've talked about it a little bit before. Another game I might like to make a review of someday. And here we have a game that I'm really happy to have. I haven't gotten into this a whole lot, but I love the art style in it. Wizardry: Tale of the Forsaken Land. You guys know I do have a history with dungeon crawlers, and it's a genre I'm wanting to get back into a little bit more. Again, I think the first Wizardry on the NES is on my bucket list right now. So this one will probably become the next one on that, assuming that I actually play Wizardry. Again, I did play Bard's Tale back in the day. I may have played a little bit of Wizardry. I don't really know, but they always seem like really cool games, and this just seems like a really great entry into the series here that Atlas published. This one here is Stella Deuce, I believe, The Gate of Eternity. Again, the game that I watched my friend play a lot of. I really enjoyed this. I think that the voice acting is like maybe a little hit or miss, although I seem to remember like they nailed some of the characters pretty well. But it's a strategy RPG, like kind of a tactical RPG that I really enjoyed the whole style and look of. It's a little weird, it's a little unique, but I like weird, unique games, and I was really happy to have this. This is definitely something I'll get to someday. Same with this, Eternal Poison. This is one I actually got right when it first came out. It was kind of a day one purchase. I almost want to say this was a little later in the lifespan of the PlayStation 2. I don't know for certain, but I love the art style for this. I think I've talked about this before. I believe this is developed by Flight Plan, who they did an RPG on the Dreamcast I talked about not too long ago. I'll put an annotation or something. But suffice to say, this is a tactical RPG, and I love the style for it. It's this really like dark gothic style. I kind of wish that they would do more games in this style, because I really find it enjoyable. Again, just a weird game. It's something that I want to get back to playing at some point, because I enjoyed my time with it. It's a little dry, I guess, at first, but I like it a lot. A game that is not. Oh, actually, no. I was thinking of a different Vanillaware game. Odin Sphere. You guys, I'm sure, know about this because they just did a redone version on the PlayStation 4. I watched my friend play a bunch of this game too. I don't know what it was about it. It seemed weird, but interesting. And again, the Vanillaware art style is wonderful, and I've always meant to just go back and play it. Now that there's a remake, I really was figuring, well, I'll just play the PlayStation 2 version. And honestly, I forget who I was watching. I want to say Ball and Nick, but I'm probably wrong about that. But somebody was just saying how they were planning to do the exact same thing until they realized that the new game is like actually like way easier and sort of like fixes a lot of the problems that this game had in terms of just like being like taking way too much time. So like if you just don't want to spend your time, like if you just don't want to waste hours of your life, like you probably want to play the new one. So now I'm obligated to buy the new one. But anyway, I do have the original PlayStation 2 one. And this is the last bit here, so if you guys are getting fatigued, we don't have much to go. I want to finish out with, well, this isn't the exact last batch, we're getting there. I want to finish out with some NIS and then just a couple random RPGs that are left over. So we have Disgaea 2 here. This was the first Disgaea actually published by Nipponichi of America. I didn't really play this. My friend played it. I watched him play some of it. Again, I think like the characters maybe aren't quite as compelling as everybody loved Laharl and Flown and the various characters. From the first game there. Phantom Brave, kind of an iteration in Nipponichi's sort of strategy RPG formula. I remember my friend's takeaway on this was that it just wasn't as good as pretty much all of the other stuff that Nipponichi did, which is why I'm sort of surprised that like they seem to not be able to let this game go. They keep redoing it, like re-releasing it on different systems. It came out on the Wii. I almost think that like they're doing a PC version of it like soon. I'm not sure why they're like so hung up on this game, but I mean maybe it's really good. Like if the story seemed interesting, like really, I don't know, I call it metaphysical, but it's sort of like a lot of stuff with spirits and things like that. It seems interesting, but it just, I think it was sort of one of the less, uh, Nipponichi strategy RPGs that were coming out at the time, for us anyway. Sakura Wars, So Long My Love. I've talked about this before. This is also on my bucket list. Really, really want to play more of this game. I believe this was one of the final games to come out for the PlayStation 2. I do have the like the whatever collector's edition of it. I just have the box out so I can access the game to play it. I have played some of this. It's sort of a little bit of kind of digital comic, visual novelish style dialogue. With a little bit of dating sim element, I believe, kind of mixed with, again, it's like strategy RPG gameplay, I believe, or at the very least RPG. Well, I guess no, it is strategy RPG. Developed by Red Entertainment, who has done the Sakura Wars series forever and a whole bunch of really significant games. A very good publisher, so bucket list game. Definitely going to play that here before too long. Makai Kingdom. Now this was another kind of Nipponichi experiment. And again, I guess I don't know for certain that Nipponichi developed all of these games. Didn't just publish some of them, but it feels like they developed them. And this, again, my friend's take on it was not as quite as good as Disgaea, but definitely just sort of a cool game to have in the collection because I sort of want like those initial like strategy RPGs that they were making, and Makai Kingdom, you used to see it around all the time. I guess obviously you used to see PlayStation 2 games around all the time, and you don't anymore. Grim Grimoire. So again, here we've got a Nipponichi published Vanillaware game, and it's interesting. Everybody now talks about Vanillaware in terms of Dragon's Crown, of course, and now they're redoing Odin Sphere. I don't hear a lot of people talk about Grim Grimoire. I mean, I kind of get like the gameplay is a little off-putting. It's a game I still need to go back and play more of. But what I played of it, I really liked. I found the characters really entertaining. It's sort of like I don't know, like a weird Japanese take on like Harry Potter, sort of like magic school setting, and then it's sort of this kind of a real-time strategy, like 2D, like a 2D real-time strategy game for the most part, and it's just really interesting. I really enjoyed this a lot. I think it I don't know, doesn't get quite enough. Maybe it's a little underrated, if I dare say. But you know, I still need to play more of it. I certainly haven't beaten it. And Soul Nomad and the World Eaters. Now, this is a game that I'm glad I picked up. The plastic is just a little wrinkled. I'm glad I picked it up when I did, because you know I sort of wanted to have the Nipponichi games on the PS2 that I wanted. Like a handful of years. Then I got this like 7 or 8 years ago, probably. So it was like $20 or something. It wasn't expensive. I have no idea. I mean, this might still be $20. So if it looks interesting, you know, go grab it. But I have a feeling this is probably one of the more expensive ones because I just think this was like, it was just random. You know, like I mean, actually, this has a cutout. UPC, which is like when games don't sell, they used to do that. So I mean, I just don't think this sold at all, really. And that's too bad because it looks like a really cool game. I can't say a lot about it. I have played it before, but I didn't get too far in it. It's a little bit of a... I remember the system being a little complicated. Like, it's a little... You're using, like, groups of characters and you're putting them on land. It doesn't sound that confusing, but when you're playing, it's a little unique. But it seems like a very interesting game. I've really wanted to check it out. I guess this is probably like more bucket list material. Maybe once I knock my current list out, that's the kind of thing that would go on it. And last three games: Rogue Galaxy, Level 5, developed RPG, published by Sony Computer Entertainment. So a very very interesting, sort of seems like a close relationship there with Sony, and this game just seems great. I watched my friend play a whole bunch of it. I seem to remember like he had some issues with it, and I think people have some issues with it. I kind of forget what in terms of maybe the difficulty or just so the gameplay or something. But I ended up finding this. I think just at a used game store a little more recently. But I really wanted it because I remember my friend playing it back in the day, and it seemed really really cool. So this seems like the kind of thing it'd be cool for them to go back and revisit. But again, I haven't beaten it, so I don't know. I can't talk too knowledgeably about it. This is another one on my bucket list. La Pucelle Tactics. This was one of the Nipponichi developed games published by Mastiff. Again, before Nipponichi had their own branch here, and I love this game. I love the style of it. It's I would say probably like the most successful non-Disgaea game that isn't part of like the Puppet Princess universe or the Marl Kingdom, which I won't get into. You guys have probably heard me talk about that before, other Nipponichi developed games that I like. So yeah, I love the characters in this game. I love how cute it is. It's super Nipponichi. It's cool. So definitely want to play this. And it seems like really Disgaea. Like if you guys like Disgaea at all, I would say if you were going to play any other Nipponichi developed game that isn't in the Marl Kingdom, I would check out La Pucelle Tactics. It's a really cool looking strategy RPG. And Chaos Wars. This isn't anything that I really hear anything about anymore, but it's been forever since I've even checked this out. I remember just sort of enjoying the charm of like the characters and the dialogue and stuff. Just seemed really fun. It's it's a little kind of a little clunky. I don't want to call it like low budget, but I mean it's like, I don't think the dialogue was like that great or anything. Now it's published by O3 Entertainment. So again, just sort of really, I'll look up who developed this so that you guys can see what that is. But anyway, another game I don't think I hear people talk about very much, and it seems like a really cute RPG game on the PlayStation 2. So that's my collection. I guess I am not super big on collecting for the PS2. I kind of want to keep my collection modest. But, if there's other stuff that you guys think I might really enjoy, especially based on the games that I have, let me know. One game I can tell you that I really want to add to this collection that I think would sort of complete, just the games that I remember fondly playing with my friend is Radiata Stories. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that RPG, but just remember he and I were playing that, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked the characters. The battle system seemed great. Like, the graphics are beautiful. Really would like to get Radiata Stories, but other than that, I feel like this collection's pretty complete. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, if you've got any recommendations, let me know. But otherwise, I hope you'll join me again for more video game and anime related videos. Thanks for watching.